Hi, this is Vijay again. Okay, we had the first two parts of our discussion, one on the sentence correction, one on the critical reasoning. I have now come to the part 3 of the GMAT discussion, that is on reading comprehension. In fact, I just want to ask you one question. If you are initiated into the GMAT and you're preparing for it, do you give enough of importance to reading comprehension when you're preparing for the test? My experience with a good number of test takers show that very rarely do test takers give its due importance in the preparation. I am referring to the reading comprehension. Now, why is this so? Is it a false assumption that the reading comprehension is not going to be tough? Or is it some sort of mindset and confidence that reading is something that we generally do, so reading comprehension may not be a problem? This especially has been observed among test takers who prepare on their own. Now, I just would like the uninitiated GMAT takers or the ones who are just starting for the GMAT preparation to a bit of a critical reading that you can practice. In fact, I feel that the maximum time that you need within the verbal section of the GMAT preparation is for the reading comprehension. So ensure that you do a 3-month plan and do really well in the reading comprehension in terms of your confidence. Now, we do read every day. It could be publications, newspapers, study material, memos, reports, everything. But the type of reading that is required for a critical reading test is slightly different from the type of reading that we do in our daily reading. This, I think, doesn't require much of an introduction. Critical reading is what everyone has to do when it comes to an aptitude test of the caliber of the GMAT or the GRE. Now, what is critical reading? You go a bit more in the different aspects of the topic being discussed. You will become engaged with the topic. You will react as you read and progress, and you judge and evaluate the adequacy of the material being discussed. You may object to opinions presented in the passage. You may feel that you accept what is been discussed here. So this sort of being a participative, engaged reading is what would be required for you to be comfortable with reading comprehension of the GMAT, because you get really tough passages here. Now, how do we have a 3 months, I would say, an RC diet? It is not possible for you to sit continuously hours together and work out the passages just as you do, let's say, the math. Change your approach. Choose 3 passages per day from the official guide or from any good quality book on the reading comprehension. Now, you get different types of passages. In fact, you get a good blend of passages in the examination. You could get a science. It could be from basic sciences, research-based, theory-based, whatever. You could get something about current affairs, economic, social, political, ethnic, history, such sort of a passage. And you're sure going to get a literary passage. That may be to do with book reviews, author review, or any piece of item from literature or philosophy. So you need to be really prepared for this, especially the latter one, the literature passage, would be high on abstraction. So you need to have, let's say, a small about, let us say, segment of your GMAT preparation per day devoted for the reading comprehension, and altogether it can be 45 minutes. So you would read the passage, then analyze how you have answered the passage. So this is something that you can take as a step, and let this be the first thing that you introduce towards the verbal, because over a period of time you will be able to then master it. I have put together a passage here, and I thought I could read it along with you, and we could answer the questions that accompany this. For purpose of just analysis, I have chosen this passage. So it doesn't matter that here I haven't included the 5 options that you would get in the examination. And you must also know that in the examination you will see only one question at a time. But here the emphasis is not to, let us say, simulate a test condition. My objective is to just show you how you can critically analyze a passage. Alright, so here is the passage. Now it says, initially the Winawer theory that Mallory's 8 romances, once thought to be fundamentally unified, were in fact 8 independent works, produced both a sense of relief and an unpleasant shock. Vinaver's theory comfortably explained away the apparent contradictions of chronology and made each romance independently satisfying. It was, however, disagreeable to find that what had been thought of as one book was now 8 books. Part of this response was the natural reaction to the disturbance of set ideas. Nevertheless, even now, after lengthy consideration of the theory's refined but legitimate observations, one cannot avoid the conclusion that the 8 romances are only one work. It is not quite a matter of disagreeing with the theory of independence, but of rejecting its implications. That the romances may be taken in any or no particular order, that they have no cumulative effect, and that they are as separate as the works of a modern novelist. Okay, I did a quick reading. Now when you read the GMAT passage, you can even go a bit slower on the first reading, but not too slow that you go and reread the passage. Now what have we understood from the passage? Now one of the things that you must make a distinction is that for every passage you're going to have a text and the author's opinion. So we have an author here who is talking about what? He is talking about Vinaver's theory. Now Vinaver's theory here is about, Vinaver's theory is about Malory's romances. That means the novels written by the author Malory. One of the things that you must understand is that in the passage, the author discusses Vinaver's theory. He gives his judgment over Vinaver's theory. We say initially the Vinaver's theory that Malory's romances, once thought to be fundamentally unified, were in fact 8 independent works, produced both a sense of relief and unpleasant shock. So from the opening line we understand that Vinaver proposed that Malory's 8 romances are independent works, unlike the belief in the past that is a fundamentally unified work. Now look at the passage which just shows here that it was considered earlier unified, but the author is telling that Vinaver said that they are 8 independent works. So that is Vinaver's theory. Now look at the statement. Is Vinaver's theory comfortably explained away the apparent contradictions of chronology. It looks like this is one point that the author is positive about. So the author makes a judgment about Vinaver's theory here a bit by telling that he could comfortably explain away the contradictions of chronology. That means which year which romance was written. However, look at the shift here. It says, however, it was disagreeable to find that what had been thought of as one book was now 8 books, which means so far everyone believed that the 8 romances is just one unified book. But now Vinaver is telling that they are independent books. He says this response, that is disagreement. Now here we're talking about the response. This is nothing but the disagreement among the critics. Now response was the natural reaction to disturbance of set ideas, which means critics did not want to accept Vinaver's point of view. So we have a point of view, a reaction from other critics also, not merely the authors. The author mentions other critics of Vinaver. He says even after lengthy consideration of the theory's refined but legitimate observations, so which means there is another point of acceptance here. He says Vinaver has made legitimate or valid observations. Even after considering those observations, one cannot avoid the conclusion that the 8 romances are only one work, which means the author still feels that the 8 romances are just one work. And then immediately he goes ahead and says it's not quite a matter of disagreeing with the theory of independence, but of rejecting its implications. Look at this word. The author rejects the implications. What are the things he rejects? That the romances may be taken in any or no particular order. He rejects it. The romances have no cumulative effect. He rejects it. They are as separate as the works of any modern novelist. He rejects it. Which means there are some points of disagreement that our speaker has with Vinaver.